I know how much you all love my AD tours, and today I have been told that I need to check out Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos' home. I have not seen it yet. As always, I love you guys so much that I wait until the very end so we do a live reaction. So let's get right into it.
Hey AD!
Hi!
We're the Consuelos.
Welcome to our favorite place on earth.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Welcome to our cigar lounge. My cigar lounge.
It's my cigar lounge.
Yeah. Otherwise known as Bar 5. It's on the 5th floor.
Well, the impulse was we wanted it to feel like 1970s New York City meets 1920s Paris.
It was a pleasure working with Bill Sofield. He said, well, why don't we go to Paris and go to the flea markets and get a bunch of stuff for your house? And I think that's where we really fell in love.
He had a special ventilation system put in here that sucks the smoke out of the sky, allegedly.
You smell cigars?
No, you can't. It never smells like cigars in here, which is crazy because I know a lot of cigars have been smoked in this room.
I saw this Yves Saint Laurent documentary called L'amour fou, and I just love the color of the paint somewhere on a wall. That's how we started with the room. And we found this table.
The best find.
I think it's from the 70s, and it's like really old school fiber optics.
But we had to have the glass replaced because the glass was so fragile from it being so old and so many, I think, parties. There's a lot of...
I can smell the generational wealth and cigar smoke through the screen when I see this room.
I smoke my stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place like you.
I think they did this quite beautifully. Like they started off in what I'm hoping is like the precursor to the rest of this house, because they did such a great job. They said they wanted that like 1970s New York feel. It feels prohibition. It also has those elements from Paris in the 50s and 60s as well. I like that they brought in a lot of the vintage pieces from flea markets in New York. That right there gives a lot of character to the space. Like when I see a space like this, it has the man cave vibes, but this is how you do a man cave correctly. It is not tacky. This is classy and sophisticated. You have a beautiful color palette. You have accents. You have a purpose for this room. It's not sports memorabilia and neon lights everywhere that make it look like an absolute nightmare. I'm also quite surprised as they were doing this tour that I don't actually hate the high lacquered wall finish. I'm actually quite surprised because usually I avoid this, but because this is a smaller room, it adds that level of reflectivity into the space itself so it feels like it belongs without feeling too cave-like, which I gotta give the designer props for this because that's something that I probably wouldn't have done myself. The combination of leather and velvet also feel really rich. Once again, feels proportionate to the time period that they wanted to have this as an accent. The black and orange, which is a high contrast finish, does not come off as too forced. If you have that black and orange, most of the times it comes off as like a Halloween kind of vibe. But the fact that this orange is more subdued and it's brought in multiple times on the ceiling, I can see that it also has on the fixtures underneath the TV. There's elements that make it feel like it's a part of the space without being a pop of color, because you know how much I hate that. Like this room, I'm gonna give a 9 out of 10 because you can tell it was designed for him specifically. I recently did a renovation where we had to put the HVAC system for a cigar lounge in their house. Let me tell you, this costs a very pretty penny, and from what I've heard, it is 100% worth it. Now this is gonna be for my male viewers. I know there's not many of you, but I know you still watch. What would be your ideal man cave? What would be in it? What would it be used for? Because I always like to see all the different formats of what your dream space needs and what it would actually look like.
This is our bedroom.
I think the feeling for the bedroom was always like when we travel to Europe or we go to a beautiful hotel, the feeling that you get there, it's sexy, it's peaceful, it's quiet. That was the feeling we were going for in the bedroom. I really feel at home here. And don't think we're crazy about putting a mirror in front of our bed. It hides a TV.
We don't stare at ourselves. We watch Judge Judy.
Judge Judy. And I remember the gold leaf at the headboard took, gosh, they had like these elves in here. Yeah. Just rubbing and rubbing, and laying more down, rubbing, and we watched them do it
but we kept thinking it was perfect. Every
time,
layer, it's perfect, don't touch it.
The artwork that we have in the hallway is from an artist named Mark Quinn. By the way, those are our kids' eyes.
And he photographs the eye and he paints the eye but from the inside looking out. So it's not a print, it's not a photograph. We've always shared a bathroom in a closet.
And we always will.
And I don't think we will ever not share a bathroom in a closet. I just feel like you and I live well together. It's also forced us to be very diligent about what we buy, wearing what we have,
And what we
not
need.
being wasteful.
Right.
It keeps you honest. We've moved several times in our lives, but no matter where we go, for me, this is my forever home. When I walked in here, I was like, this is the final place where I will live. I love this house so much.
The hotel style for a bedroom, you know, it feels elevated, feels luxurious. I don't mind it. I feel like it's a little bit more of a contrast from the man cave that we just saw. But then once again, that's his room. This is going into more of Kelly's territory. So let's see like how this kind of transitions to the rest of the house and who won the battles for who is designing the rooms. I love their comment on Judge Judy. It makes me like them even more because growing up, that was like the only thing I ever watched on the 2 channels that we had in the country. And it was, I know a lot of people hate her. I think she's amazing. I love her. She's no bullshit. No bullshit, and that's the best thing.
Bye.
I like the gold leaf on the headboard. I think that's a really beautiful detail. It helps kind of emphasize that back wall, but the proportion of everything else in the room feels a little off. I feel like they carried it up a little bit too high, and the space on each sides feel imbalanced. I think a good way of balancing that out would have been to bring wall sconces on each side, or some kind of scalable artwork or even mirrors on each side. I think would have helped amplify that more architectural but also Parisian style that they brought in for this bedroom. I'm really not a huge fan of all the light fixtures. The ceiling ones are not doing it for me. Once again, I understand that they brought this back from Paris and the flea market, much like the other lights. I mean, they really wanted to have a backstory, and you know, trauma can be a backstory too. I do like the wall sconces on the opposite side of the bed. I can also give them bonus points for hiding the TV behind the mirror. This is a great way to include tech into your space but still have it out of the way. You know you're in a rich person's house if 1, you can't find the TV, 2, you can't find the fridge or the freezer, and 3, you don't know where the garbage is. As much as I love the eye artwork, the hallway that these are presented in feels very small and narrow. And because these are so big, it feels way too overpowering in the space and slightly creepy. I love that they're not photographs and they're actual painted pieces, which elevate it even more. But the size of these do not feel like they should be in a hallway. I would want them in a large room against a really big wall where you can actually experience them in its full glory instead of just being in a small, narrow hallway where you see it just as a quick glance. The few clips of what I could see of the bathroom and the closet, you know, are nice. Nothing special. I love that they are conscious about their smaller space and they actually are like, you know what, we can't fit a lot in here, so we need to really be careful about overspending and buying, which from a celebrity perspective is really good to see that they are conscious and actually mindful of that. I want to talk to you about the rules when buying a bookshelf. Now, I know you would never think there's actually rules when it comes to it, but there's a few, and I want to make sure you're actually looking at the right bookshelf for your space. The first consideration is what you're going to be putting on your bookshelf. If it's books, decor, or a mixture of both, this is going to be your deciding factor in not only the design, but the shape of the bookshelf itself. Now, I have the Torme bookshelf from Article, and there's 2 great things about it. One is the actual structure and how sturdy this is. If you're looking for a mixture of books and decor, this is for you because you actually get that extra depth when it comes to the bookshelf. Most bookshelves are going to be about 12 inches in depth, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's going to pigeonhole you to only using books themselves. I like doing a mixture of books and decor to make it look perfectly stylized, and it creates a really great focal point in any room that you're putting it in. The Torme also comes in a half closed, half open option as well, which means the bottom part is closed storage. Closed storage is key when it comes to keeping your space organized, and that is always on the top of my priority whenever I'm designing. Thankfully, this room itself was more of a decor aspect, and I had plenty of storage elsewhere. But if you're looking for a good combination of open and closed storage for your bookshelves, that's the one for you. Another rule is the finish of your bookshelf itself. Depending on the decor and the books that you're putting into it, I like to juxtapose the actual finish. The color of your bookshelf is another consideration you need to make when selecting it. I typically go for a darker unit because I have lighter decor, but it's really great if you have that complete opposite. It creates that beautiful juxtaposition of light and dark versus light. I debated against getting the Phaedra versus the Torme. The Phaedra actually has a backing to it, which I think is beautiful depending on the space itself. If your space is really full and you want this to take up a larger sense of volume, that would be what to look for. I personally like being able to see the color of the walls behind, which is great for the Torme because it allows you to actually focus on the decor and the books in the front, and it creates that beautiful sense of depth because you get that color in the background. If you're looking for any furniture pieces, I highly recommend checking out Article, and you can get $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more using code DesignDaddy or scanning the QR code on the screen.
All right, welcome to our living room.
This would be the informal, formal living room.
Yes.
We have had so many great parties in this room. It presents as fancy, but it really is super comfortable and very casual.
If we have an important meeting and someone's coming to our house,
a
business meeting,
we try to look adult. Like,
come in, and then I do this. And then they're trapped.
At the end of the day, we're still us, so it's going to be goofy.
There is a TV in here. It's behind that beautiful mirror there that just turns on.
The late, great Gloria Vanderbilt gave us, as a housewarming present, one of her paintings over the fireplace.
I can see that we're sticking with that like hotel vibe. It feels grand for a living room. The details are nice. It doesn't feel super fancy, so it's not like super intimidating. I know a lot of people have an informal and a formal living room, and I feel like they created a great combination between the two where, once again, it's not intimidating, and if you have guests come over, they can feel like they can sit in there without disturbing the actual layout of the room. The soft grays, the brass, the warm woods, like they really had a timeless combination with these colors, and I can see that's what they wanted for this space, and I say they definitely achieved it. Once again, I'm gonna give them another point for hiding the TV behind the mirror. The one consideration I have with that though is I would want the mirror to be removable, because if you have seen a TV behind a mirror before and it's on, it distorts the colors where it feels like everything is super cool and blue. But if that raises up and the TV's behind it, I love it. The fact that they hid it already is already good in my books. I like that their energy matches this space. They're like fun, quirky, but they also have this like elevated, sophisticated feel to it. And this living room gives me exactly that. A living room and a kitchen are the two spaces that really are your telltale signs to how a person lives in a space. And this is already giving me some insight.
All right, this is our dining room. Big family meals, dinner parties.
Lots of Sunday Chinese food with our friends.
Yep. I knew I needed an office. It didn't need to be big. And so I found space in the back there. And so we turned that into my office. I get a view of the garden. I can take some calls. And it's also a little butler's pantry bar for the dining room.
So this chandelier, extraordinary, sculptural, truly beautiful. This came from Vienna. And Bill said, if 1/3 of it arrives intact, we'll be thrilled.
Yeah.
And the entire thing arrived.
Flawless.
There wasn't a beat out of place. It was really a miracle.
I have some words about the dining room. I truly don't know how I feel. I know it's in New York, brownstone, of course. You're already quite constricted for the room sizes, but the really dark built-ins all the way around make it feel extremely overwhelming, and especially with the dark table itself. I would have wanted the focus to be on the dining chairs and the table, and everything around it is more muted and neutral. That allows the dining table to be the feature, not the dining table and all of these really dark, heavy built-ins that go all the way up to the ceiling. Those competing heights create a lot of visual contrast that makes it look cluttered even though it's not. I like his office in the back. I think it's a cute little detail. They found room for him. It's dark, it's moody, it feels cohesive with obviously his design palette and aesthetic that he likes, basing it off the cigar lounge that we already saw. I'm not a huge fan of the light. I do like the Art Deco aspects that were brought to attention in this room. The artwork, those geometric patterns. The light itself is a little bit more of a softer glam in my opinion that feels a little out of place. Once again, because everything feels really heavy in this room, the light itself, although is light, adds to that visual clutter. But let me know in the comments, do you like the darker built-ins or would you swap them out?
Come on into the kitchen. Every room is the heart and soul, but this
really is, yeah. And it's nice, it's just off the garden if we ever want to go outside and have a cup of coffee. So we're very serious about our coffee.
We're fussy coffee drinkers.
So you can see we have multiple machines for multiple things.
Our fairly, not quite opaque, mildly translucent cabinets keep us honest. We are forced to be organized. There were so many discussions about pulls for the doorknobs and for the drawers and for the cabinetry. I did not realize that those would be separate purchases. Those would be extra. No. We used to like austere, minimalist spaces. And then I think moving uptown changed you.
Yep.
Turned you into a gentleman.
it's hard to be mad at them. I think they have such good energy together, and watching them describe the kitchen, I'm glad they're happy about it. There's a few things I want to comment. You already know I don't like an all-white kitchen. I think the silver inlay on the shutters on the fronts, I think are a nice detail. It feels cohesive, but because you have that stark white with a silver and a chrome, it comes off too clinical, very medical in my opinion, especially for a kitchen setting. The chrome and the stainless steel, it works, but it's still, I'm very about it. I'm not on board. It works with the design of this house, but like now that I'm looking back at this, I also see that the shuttered fronts are frosted glass. As beautiful as they are. I know they made a comment being like, oh, it keeps us humble and organized. You cannot have anything behind that is a different color outside of white or glass. That is the only time anything behind those cabinets is going to be actually cohesive and it looks organized and well designed. I'm betting money the AD came in here and they took everything out from there so you couldn't actually see anything unless it was white or glass behind it to kind of add to it. Something tells me she has like multicolored mugs just based on her energy, and those are definitely not in those upper cabinets. The pulls and handles, like this entire kitchen is very much aligned with like that early 2000s, which once again, isn't necessarily a bad thing, just not my style. Like, it feels like I'm in an episode of Real Housewives just based on this kitchen design. Like, the rounded arches are a really beautiful detail. The frames are nice, but it feels really out of place from what I'm seeing. Also, these giant UFO saucer lights above the island are not doing it for me either. I get it, you want to keep it like very clean and simple with nothing coming down, but I would have wanted something that maybe doesn't take up as much volume on the ceiling, especially when you have rows of pot lights on each side. We started off with the lounge and I got really excited because I was looking forward to this space feeling a little bit more dark, a little bit more moody, a little bit more, I guess, masculine in a sense. But then, once again, this is definitely Kelly's house based on the rest of the design that they put together. I think they did a really great job on combining both the dark and light finishes throughout. We have that high reflectivity, we have the chrome and the stainless steel that picks up in all the different accents of the room. So it definitely feels cohesive. Overall, I'm gonna say I'm not completely impressed. I do like that they had like the 70s look and, like I said, the Art Deco, but for the few architectural details of this, it really doesn't give me the style that they wanted to bring forward. This entire house is very on brand for the Upper East Side, and I feel like every house in this surrounding area is probably going to look either very similar or tragically the exact same, which doesn't get me excited. Honestly, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I think it's cohesive, it's beautiful. Like a brownstone like this in New York, I can only imagine how much it costs. Like this whole house, I'm saying at least that 10 to 18 million dollar range minimum, especially if they have a yard, which is like impossible in New York. I love them. I love their energy. I do not love their house, but let me know in the comments below, is there something that you saw that was like super impactful that you're like, I'm inspired? Or is this just another snooze celebrity AD tour? Probably the most impressive AD tour I have seen to date was my previous one on Lenny Kravitz that you need to watch. Now, like, he is the epitome of style and design in every possible sense and makes this home look like, it makes it look really sad. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I love doing these AD tours because I love looking at rich people's stuff. Lonely old me that lives in a small little 750 square foot space is making streamlined comments about multi-millionaires. But you know what? That's why you're here. That's why you're watching. You're watching Design Daddy because I have good taste and I can tell you what's shit and what's good. Don't forget to like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Mr. Phoenix Gray for all my daily tips and tricks. And if you're ever second guessing yourself, just ask, what would Design Daddy do?